Yeah, so as a kid, I always had trouble fitting in and always questioning, do I belong here or do I belong there? Kind of really affected a lot of areas of my life, especially music, which was the main reason for making this album, Me, Myself, and I. Hi, my name is Channy D. I am a pianist and producer, originally from Seattle, Washington, but currently based in Seoul, South Korea. So classical music was my first introduction to music. Growing up, my mom would teach me piano as a kid, but it wasn't until middle school where I saw this Japanese anime called 노담의 칸타빌레. And for some reason, I just really related to the characters in that show, and it sparked my interest in music and ended up making me want to become a classical pianist. This led me to study classical music at university, but I realized as I kept studying that it wasn't for me because there was a standard that I felt like there was a standard I couldn't meet, the standard of perfection and having to not really express myself, but express the writings of composers or my professors or whatever the culture required. And that's when I realized, oh man, I think this is not the path for me. This is literally my life. He always tries to. My first encounter with jazz was in high school. I joined the high school jazz band, and at that time, in the beginning of the year, they opened up like an introduction jam session thing. And then for some reason, I had the guts to go up and take a solo. And yeah, I was playing like some weird Mozart kind of line over like a blues, and it was pretty embarrassing, but yeah, it was fun. It was the first time I improvised. It was the first time I played something out that was not written, on sheet music. And yeah, that was the initial spark. Also, there happened to be another anime about jazz music at the time called Kids on the Slope, and it was about a boy who was moving from the city to the countryside, and he was classically trained, playing Chopin and stuff. But then he met a friend who played jazz drums, and he also had his first time taking a solo. And I think because of that, I related to this character, which also helped me to decide, oh man, I think maybe this is for me. Similarly, classical music, it wasn't until I kept studying and kept finding out that, oh man, like the music's great, but a lot of the culture I felt behind it, I couldn't belong to, because I felt there was a sense of elitism culture, and we know what the good music is, we know what real jazz is, we know what quality music is, and if the music you listen to didn't fit that description, then you're kind of looked down upon, or you're made fun of, like, oh, you like that? Like, what is that? And that's when I realized, oh man, like, where do I belong? I don't belong here, I don't belong there. Yeah.
CE project. It was for high school. Wow, it takes so long for the drums.
Yeah, so some of that music I like listening to was hip hop. My first introduction to hip hop was through another anime, surprise, called Samurai Champloo. A lot of the soundtrack was by a Japanese producer named Nujabes. In hip hop, sampling is taking pieces of music from different genres, different styles of music, and combining into all one thing. The reason I naturally gravitated towards the music was, I think, because they're taking things that shouldn't belong, styles of music that shouldn't belong together, but somehow making it work. And I was like, oh man, that's like my life. That's like me, always wanting to belong into one certain area, but just accepting the fact that, oh, I'm just a mix of many things, and that's okay.
Oh, yeah, now I don't see it as different. It's just all one. It's just whatever comes out, I just accept. And whatever comes out of me, I accept it. And I try it, and if it fits, I'm like, okay, let's go. Because I lived here 7 years now. The first 4 or 5 years, it was all still getting used to. Because I came here because I wanted to be accepted. Thankfully, I am 이제 외모적으로. My looks are accepted. No one looks at me differently. No one's like, what the? I'm just blending in.
Yeah.
근데 이제 말만 하면 once I talk, they're like, 뭐지? Yeah. But now I'm more comfortable. Before I couldn't like talk to the 편의점 알바생. Yeah, I'd be like, they ask me if I want 할인 or something. I'm like, what's 할인? What is 할인 card or whatever? 이제는 그냥 뭐 대화도 나누고.
그러니까 항상 그런 거지. 항상 내가 나를 accept 해야 like who you are. 그로부터 like you don't feel like a stranger.
맞아. And before I kept wanting acceptance from outside people, outside influence or other people. 근데 또 어떻게 보면 that means I just didn't know who I was. Yeah. It takes a long time.
Through making this album was kind of my first start of realizing more about who I actually am. And for those listening, I hope it can also help you with your journey and whatever you are going through.